So let us start our discussion today. The topic of the discussion is designing of the stairs. Now, let us discuss with this PowerPoint presentation. Actually, it is not prepared by me. I have taken this one from one author of one book. I will share the information at this moment. Try to understand the points. So this is the topic: reinforced concrete stair. Okay. So reinforced concrete stair is an important component of the building. You know this one, and often the only means of providing the access between various floors of the building. So you know the basic idea. The staircase essentially consists of landing and flights. Okay, which one is the landing and which one is the flight? You know. Still, I will show. Often the flight is an inclined slab consisting of risers and treads, collectively called the going of staircase, and whereas the landing is the horizontal slab. Okay, from a structural point of view, a staircase will be consisting of the slab or beam elements. So either if you know the procedure of designing the slab, if you know the procedure of designing of the beam, then you will be able to design the stair. Now, this is some views of the staircases. You can get the idea. You have already got the idea from your earlier classes where you have drawn the different arrangements of the stair in your earlier drawing classes. So this is basically the flight. Okay, this inclined part of the staircase is called the flight. Okay, it will have the risers and treads. Okay, this horizontal part is called tread. The vertical dimension is called the riser. So riser and tread are the basically the two sides of the steps. So these are the individual steps. Okay, and this is the waist slab. This slab over which the steps are constructed. This is called the waist slab. So waist slab, obviously, it will be the main structural component. So this is the waist slab, and flight is also called. This is the inclined part. Okay, the inclined part is called the waist slab, or the inclined part will be having the steps. So a flight is the combination of this waist slab and the steps. So this part of the stair, it is the inclined part. This is the inclined part. Okay, and there will be two landings at the two ends. So this is the horizontal part of the stair. This is the horizontal part of the stair. So you will see the horizontal part of the stair that are called landing, and the inclined part of the stair that is called the flight or going. Now here some basic information regarding the dimension, etc. These are given. I am not entering into that part because you know this one. So generally, what should be the width, that means the riser, what should be the dimension for the riser, what should be the dimension for the tread. Okay, regarding that, you have already have the idea, and you have got this one in your earlier building planning, construction, etc. From those paper, you have got this idea. So I will mainly discuss the aspect of structural designing. So let me enter into that particular part. Your friends are still joining, so it is creating the problem. Okay. Now, what are the definitions of tread, nosing, risers, etc.? I am not entering into this part. The flight or going is the main important point that you should remember at this moment. Flight is a series of steps provided between two landings. So going of stair is the horizontal projection of the flight. So when you will consider the horizontal projection of the flight, this is the horizontal, this is the flight. So when you will consider the horizontal projection of that will be considered as the going. Okay. So landing part, you know, it is a horizontal slab. Okay, provided between two flights. etc. That this particular points we are not entering into at this moment. So steps that you should know that the steps of the stair may be brick or concrete steps on inclined slab, and the trade riser steps and isolated steps that I am telling. Okay, actually these are the steps that may be made of brick, that may be made of concrete, but these are not the structural component. That means in this case, main structural component is the landing, this landing and this inclined RC slab. This inclined RC slab, this horizontal RC slab, and this horizontal RC slab will form the flight. Okay, so this waist slab, this landing slab, and this landing slab, they are mainly the structural component. But in this type of arrangements, this is obviously the steps will be there, without which there is no need to construct the stair. So the steps will be there, but the stairs are made of either brick, or it may be constructed with concrete. Whatever may be the material of the steps, these are not part of the structural elements. So these are not, the steps are not the structural elements, but there may be some type of the stair where the steps will be the main structural component. For example, say this is the type of the stair. It is called slabless tread riser. Okay, this is a slabless tread riser. There is no slab, waist slab. Simply the one folded plate you may consider, or folded slab. This is the folded slab. Okay, it is forming the tread, it is forming the riser. So there is no separate inclined waist slab for this one. So this is another type of stair where the steps, that means these risers and treads, these are the main structural component, and as a whole it will be forming a folded slab. This folded slab design, obviously it will be slightly different from the normal slab design, but you may get the information from any textbook. But here you must know the difference. At this moment we are discussing only this type of stair, but this is also one type of stair where the steps are the main structural component. There is no slab attached to that. And this is also some type of stair. It is some isolated steps. Say there is a wall here. Okay, from this wall, say reinforced concrete wall, from that wall these steps are projected. So it will be forming a stair. Generally for say some staircase, you may construct over the roof. Okay, just to get the access over the roof of the stair hall. Okay, the Mamti room. So over the Mamti room, if you were to go, then there should be an access through this stair. So this wall, this is the wall of the Mamti room, say, and from the side of the Mamti, so from the side of the wall, these steps are projected. In that case, the steps are the isolated steps. They are not the part of the continuous structure like this one. Okay, so as a whole, you will be able to get the access to the upper floor, etc. Now, let us give you a brief idea regarding different types of staircases. Obviously, we will not enter into different types at this moment. So let us discuss with reference to this figure, this picture. Here, all these different types of stairs are drawn. Okay, so this is the straight flight. In this case, it will be the quarter turn. Okay, this is called the half turn, or the dog-legged staircase, or the scissor type of staircase. Okay, these are the branching staircase, etc. This is the open well. There is a open part here. This is a open well, half turn, and this is open well, another 3-flight stair. Okay, so these are the spiral stairs or helicoidal stairs. So different types of staircase you may construct. Okay, from the architectural point of view, you may have to select different types of stairs, but you should know how to design the stair, the structural component of the stair. Okay, so at this moment we will discuss only the designing of this kind of stair or this kind of stair at this moment, or this may be also. If you know the basic idea, you will be able to design all these 5 or 6 component of the stairs. Only this helicoidal or spiral stairs will need some additional knowledge. Okay, otherwise they are having more or less the same idea behind the designing of the staircases. Okay, Now we are not entering into this different geometrical type of the staircases. At this moment, just one type of stair I am giving you the view here at this moment, to give the idea that this is the staircase where there is no support for this landing. This is the half landing, you know. This is the full landing, this is the full landing, this is the waist slab, this is the waist slab. The stair may be constructed in such a way that where this half landing will not be supported. Okay, it will be forming a folded plate like this one, and it is freestanding. Freestanding means it will be supported here, it will be supported here. There is no standing, there is no support at this end. So that is also a typical type of stair. I am just giving you the idea. If you see anywhere this kind of stair, you may think that it is not properly constructed. Obviously, if you follow the proper design procedure, then it will be a stable construction. There will not be any problem. But obviously, if you do not follow the proper design procedure, it may be unsafe. Okay, but you should know that this may be one of the type of the staircases that you may construct. Okay, now the structural classification, main design aspect will start from this particular point. Now for design purpose, the stairs are classified into two following types. Okay, what are the types? One is a transversely supported stair, another is the longitudinally supported stair. Transversely supported means it is transverse to the direction of the movement of the stair. Generally, which diagram I will use? For example, say, let us consider this one. Okay, so transversely supported means this is the direction of the movement. This is the direction of the movement for any flight. For you may consider this flight also. This is a single flight stair. You may consider this one also. Now, if you see, these are the steps. Okay, these are the steps within the flight. Now, if you see that, obviously this is a folded slab. Okay, this is a folded slab means this is a slab like this one. So it must be supported. Your common sense will tell that it should be supported here and here at the ends. Okay, that is the most common type of supporting structure. That means the stair slab will be supported here at this end as well as here at this end. Okay, that's the most common type of supporting structure for the staircase. But there may be another type of support also. It may be that there will be a beam here, say. Okay, there may be a beam here. Okay, this is an inclined beam just along the direction of the stair. So there will be an inclined beam here, there will be inclined beam here. And say this is the slab which is basically resting over this beam and this beam. Then it is called the transversely supported stair. Because transversely means the supporting direction is perpendicular to the direction of the movement of the stair. Okay, so direction of the movement is this one. In this case, the direction of the movement is this one. The direction of the movement is this one. So if it is spanning in transverse direction, it is spanned in the transverse direction. That means as if there is some structural component, as if there is one structural component here, as if there is one structural component here, such that it is supported in the transverse direction. Okay, it is supported in the transverse direction. Okay, so in that case it is called the transversely supported stair. But the other one is a longitudinally supported stair. Longitudinally supported stair means this is one flight. If you give the support at this end, then it will be called the longitudinally supported stair. In that case, the effective span will be measured from this point to this point, where the beam or walls are there, where this inclined slab is supported. So there will be no beam along this line. There will be no beam along this line. Simply the beam or wall that will be along this line as well as it will be along this line. Obviously at different levels it will be supported, but the effective span or the spanning of the slab will be in this direction. But if you give the beam in this direction, if you give the beam or wall in this, say there is one wall, simply brick masonry wall, there is another brick masonry wall. You are constructing the inclined slab in such a way that it is supported here and it is supported here. There is no support along the shorter direction, there is no support along the shorter direction. Then basically it will be supported along this support as well as this along this support. Support means either beam or wall. So that is called the transversely supported beam, transversely spanning beam, stair. And otherwise, if the supports are here or here, then it will be called as longitudinally supported stair. Okay. Now, in case of longitudinal supported stair, it is very common that either, for example, in this case, there may be a beam along this line at the end of the landing. There may be some additional beam at the end of the going portion. This is called the going portion. Going portion means the inclined part. Okay, so that is the going part. So at the end of the going part, there may be a beam. Okay, in addition to the beam at this end, or there are three alternatives. There may be beam along this line. There is no beam along this line. Then the effective span will be measured up to this point. Say there is one beam along this end of the landing slab, as well as there is a beam at the junction between the waist slab and the landing slab. So in that case, for the waist slab, the effective span will be measured from this one, and this slab will be designed separately. And if the situation is such that there is one beam here, okay, and say this is the mid landing slab, this is simply projected as a cantilever slab. It may happen that the boundary line of the building is along this line. Okay, are you getting the point? So here the building, the end wall of the building is lying along this line. So this is the projected part of the stair outside the building structure. Main building will be up to this line. So this landing slab will be outside the building structure as a cantilever slab. In that case, you will see there will be the supporting beam will be along this line in case of longitudinally supported stair. So beam will be along this line, and this part, this slab will be treated as a cantilever slab supported over this beam. So there may be different types of supporting arrangements also. So let me discuss a few points regarding this one. One is transversely supported staircase, the transverse to the direction of the movement. Transverse means transverse to the direction of the movement in the stair. Okay, and longitudinally supported means in the direction of the movement. So here in this type of case, say if I consider this is not the actual case, okay, just for our understanding, I am considering, say there is one beam here, then it will be longitudinally supported like this one. It is longitudinally supported like this one. Okay, and if you provide some beam here, then it will be the transversely supported beam. Okay, now in case of transversely supported beam, just try to show you a few examples with this figure. Okay, how the transversely supported stair will be constructed. So this is one case where there is a wall. Okay, so and there is a stringer beam. Stringer beam will be the inclined beam. Okay, you are getting this. This is the inclined beam. Okay, so that inclined beam is constructed at this side. Okay, so if it is there, then this stair slab, obviously it will be considered as a simply supported slab, and it will be resting over this slab and this beam. So at this, along the wall, it will be supported over the wall, and at the other side it will be supported over the beam. So it will be treated as a simply supported slab, and that will be supported over these two ends. So simply you can find out the moment that will be developed at the middle of this span, and you will provide the steel there. Now you just try to understand here, very good picture it is here. AST is this one. So whatever the steel you are providing in this direction, that is the main steel. Okay, which one is the main steel? I have asked yesterday. In case of one-way slab, the steel reinforcement that you are providing in the spanning direction, that is the main steel. And in the other direction, the distribution bars will be provided, which is not the main steel. But in case of two-way slab, no, though not relevant with this one, still I am telling, in case of steel two-way slab, it is spanning in both the directions. Okay, that's why it is two-way slab. It is named so. So in that case, both the steels provided in the shorter direction as well as in the longer direction, in case of two-way slabs, are the main steel, and neither of these two will be the distribution steel. Anyway, so in this case, normally what you will see, if the stair slab is spanning longitudinally, then you will see the steel that will be provided in this direction. No dot, not this figure. Here it is transversely supported. Just try to get the idea that this reinforcement will be the main reinforcement, but these dots indicating the transverse reinforcement. But in case of transversely spanned stair, just try to get the idea, main steel is this dot. That means it is perpendicular to the direction of the movement. Direction of the movement is this one, and these steels are perpendicular to that. So that is the main steel. Okay, so this is the main steel in this case. and the dots that you are getting, that is the distribution steel. Okay, that is very important to remember. And these slab, maybe the slab like this one where it is supported at both the ends. So in that case, you have to provide the beam at this free end. Okay, otherwise there will be a wall at this end. Okay, so it will be like this one. Or it may happen that there is a wall, and within the wall you are providing one beam. This is the beam within the RC wall. Okay, or the beam may be the inclined beam that is supported at the two ends. Say there is one column here, there is another column here. Simply you are constructing a beam along this line. Okay, so this is the that kind of beam may be also constructed, but the steps that are constructed as a cantilever slab from the beam. Okay, so if it is constructed as a cantilever slab from this beam, then simply it will be a cantilever slab. You know what will be the maximum moment it will be coming near the support, WL square by 2. So that moment you can calculate, and against that you may give some steel. Obviously in this case also, this steel will be the main steel, and the steel that you are providing in the direction of the movement of the stair, that means these dots, that will be the distribution steel. And here also you should remember that as it is a cantilever slab and the moment will be hogging in nature, so you have to provide the steel at the top face. So whatever the steel you are providing at the bottom face here, that is the tension steel. And if you may have to provide some steel at the top also if it is needed, but that is not the main steel. Okay, that is simply the additional steel you are providing for different aspects, say from temperature aspect, etc., etc. You are providing to avoid cracking within the slab or beam. We may have to provide some additional steel, but that is not the main component of the steel that we are providing. So here it is at the bottom part, bottom face, because the moment where that will develop here, it will be sagging in nature as it is supported at the two ends, and here it will be supported at one end. So this will be the top steel you are providing, because it will be resisting the hogging moment. So tension will develop at top. So the reinforcement will be provided in this way. So this is the top steel. Okay, now it may happen that the stringer beam or the spine beam, it is called the spine beam, and sometimes it's called the stringer beam. So this is the stringer beam or this is the spine beam. The spine beam generally named in this way if you provide the beam at the middle part. Okay, just like the spinal cord in the human body. So it will be a beam along the central line. So this spine beam, this is the spine beam. It will be constructed. It is an inclined beam like this one. It is an inclined beam like this one. It will be supported at the top. Say here there is a one column at the middle, and there will be one column at the middle. So you will see one beam along this line at the central location. Okay, and then from this beam, the stair slab, the steps of the stair will be constructed at the either sides. So it will be constructed this side as well as it will be constructed this side. Okay, so at both the sides it will be two smaller cantilever slabs, and the beam will be constructed. Actually this type of stair we construct when the there is no scope of providing the beam or wall at this side or this side. Okay, if you want to keep this one as a cantilever one, then you have to provide the beam at one side. So at least there should be one wall or supporting beam like this one. Okay, so what we can do, instead of providing that beam or wall at the end of the stair or width of the stair, what we can do, we can provide the beam at the middle. Okay, and the slab may be constructed at either side. So in both the side, it will be a cantilever slab. Okay, so here also the main steel will be at the top, because that will be the cantilever slab, and it will be symmetrically arranged with respect to the beam, and these steels are the distribution steel. Okay, and in designing of this kind of stair, it is slightly different from this one and this one. Why? In this case, you will consider the dead load and live load over the entire span. Here the span will be in the transverse direction, so this will be the span length. This is the clear span. Okay, so from that you can find out the effective span. It is from this point to the center of the beam. So regarding the some idea are given in IS 456, but try to understand the concept. Okay, the concept is this one. Here you will apply the dead load and live load, and that will give you the maximum moment at the midspan. Okay, similarly in this case, this is the cantilever slab. If you apply dead load and live load over the entire width, then basically you will get the maximum hugging moment near this support. Against that, you may find out what will be the steel to be provided at top. But in this case, the obviously the dead load and live load you should apply over both the part of the stair, both the part of the steps. But just try to think, actually this hugging bending moment and this hugging bending moment will be balanced. Okay, and ultimately for this beam actually there may be a torsional effect. For this beam, as this is a cantilever slab, okay, so this cantilever slab will be creating some movement in this direction. In this direction, it will creating some movement. So about this beam, so this beam will be subject to some torsional moment. But in this case, so when you will design this beam, you should consider the bending moment. You should consider the shear force, as well as you should consider the torsional moment. So the concept of torsional moment is also coming in this designing of this kind of stair. So when you will design this beam, not the staircase or the stair slab, when you will design this beam should be designed against the bending moment, against the shear force, and also against the torsional moment that is coming from this step. So in this case, you may think that dead load and live load you are considering over the both the sides of the steps. So this moment and this moment will get balanced by each other, and ultimately no torsional moment will be coming over this spine beam. But the fact is a different one. When you will consider the live load over this one, okay, it may happen the live load is not acting over this part. So when the live load will be acting over, dead load will be there. There is no scope to omit the dead load. But the live load you may apply, you may not apply. So if you consider that the live load will be acting over this part and the live load is not acting over this part, then there will not be any counterbalancing moment. So as a result, there will be two effects. First of all, this moment will be more, okay, as you are considering the live load here, but this moment will be less. So you should consider that effect over this slab, and also you should consider the torsional moment caused by this unequal load acting over two sides of the beam. So that is also another aspect that you should keep in your mind whenever in your professional life, when you will go for designing this kind of stair, you should know that the live load arrangement is an important part to design this kind of stair slab as well as the spine beam. So that is very important. Okay, and there may be another type of stair that where these steps are forming the main part of the cantilever type of staircase. In that case, these are the main steels. Okay, these are the main steels. In this case, you are basically constructing a particular slab. Slab is inclined, and the steps are not the part of the structural component. But in this case, the steps are the part of the structural component. So simply these dots will be the main steel that will be coming out from the supporting wall or the supporting beams. Okay, so from that this will be coming out, and this will be the distribution bar. This will be the distribution bar. Okay, so this is another type of staircase that you may have to design. So these are the different types of transversely supported stairs what I have discussed. More or less this information written in this few slides. So let me come to the longitudinally supported stairs, which are mostly constructed in most of the buildings. So whenever you will design, say if you consider designing of 100 buildings, then you will see in 90 buildings you will have to design this longitudinally supported stair. So these stairs spans between the supports at the top and bottom of the flight and are unsupported at the sides. So it will be supported, what I have already told, it may be supported at the ends of the landing slab, or there may be some additional beam at the end of the going portion or the inclined part or the inclined waist slab. So there may be beam, there may not be beam. Here there is no beam, here there is no beam here, but there may be beam also. But main aspect, behavioral aspect that you should consider, that it will be spanning longitudinally. It will be spanning longitudinally. This is the direction of the movement through the stair. So this direction will be matching with the direction of the effective span. Okay, more or less it is an inclined slab, but the effective span is considered as the horizontal projection of that. So here this is the longitudinally spanned stair. It is supported. is supported at the ends of the effective span. Okay, so here the longitudinal supported stairs may be supported in any of the following ways. Internal beams at the end of the flight, in addition to the beams or walls at the outside edges of the landing. Okay, just like this one. So in that case, the effective span will be center to center distance of the beam. Otherwise, the beams or walls at the outside edge of the landing. That means this one. Here the beams or walls are provided at the outside edges of the landing. Okay, so in that case, the effective span will start from this particular point. Okay, now come to this particular specific problem. It is written here. Achha, let me tell you this one first. Landing that are supported by beams or walls running in the longitudinal direction. Okay, this is the third point, and the combination of these three methods, they may be here, or first one or second one or the third one. Stairs with quarter landing supported with open well stair, there is another aspect. Okay, so at this moment try to explain what are the three possibilities. First possibility is this one, where the supports are there at the end of the waist slab as well as the end of the landing slab. There may be the situation where the supports are only at the end of the landing. Okay, so this is the what should I say, this is the full landing and this is the floor slab. Okay, so there will be a common slab. So this is the beam at the end of the landing part, and this is the beam or wall at the end of the half landing part. So this is another type of arrangement. And the third one is this one, what is written in the IS code also, that say there is no beam. Please try to understand that. What is the direction of the beam? Very important. The direction of the beam is parallel to the stairs, parallel to the steps, not the stairs, parallel to the steps. These are the steps. What is the longitudinal direction of the step? In the transverse direction. Now the beam, this is the beam, this is the beam, this is the beam. The direction of the beam is parallel to the steps. Okay. So in that case, we may consider normally as a slab which is supported here and here. But in this case, please try to understand, there is no beam. There is no beam constructed parallel to the steps of the stair. So here, what is that? You may understand from this figure. This is the landing. This is another landing. One is half landing, another is full landing, and this is the going part. Okay, these are the steps. Now, this landing slab, it is supported generally in this kind of construction. They are supported over the brick masonry wall. Say there is one brick masonry wall along this line. There is another brick masonry wall along this line. So this is the half landing slab. Okay, or say this is the full landing slab. Say this is the full landing slab supported over this wall and supported over this wall. And this is the half landing slab which is also supported over this wall and this is supported over this wall. So what you will get? You are not getting any beam along this line, not beam along this line. There is no beam along this line. There is no beam along this line. So how the stair slab is supported? Stair slab, in that case, it will be the secondary structure. Please try to understand. Here, this landing slab and this landing slab, they are the primary structures. In the case of grid of beams, I have told you which beam is the primary beam, which is supported over the columns at the two ends. And the secondary beams are supported over the primary beams. Okay, they are not directly supported over the column. So what will happen in case of secondary beam? Whatever the load it will carry, it will transfer the load over the primary beams, and the primary will transfer the load to the columns over which it is supported. So in this case, these are the primary elements, structural component or primary structural member. Okay, this is supported over this wall. This landing is supported over this wall and this wall. This landing will be supported over this wall and this wall. And as if the flight part or the going part, that will be resting over this landing and this landing. So it will be looking like this in the elevational view, that there is no beam at the ends, but this stair slab, it will be resting over this landing and it will be resting over this landing. And the landing will be supported over two wall or two, it may be RC wall, it may be brick masonry wall like this one. Okay, at the two ends. So this is the typical type of the supporting structure for the stair. So in that case, this flight part, the going part, will be the secondary part, secondary structural component, and the primary structural component is the landing, because the going part of the waste slab will be supported over the landing elements. Okay, so in that case, how to calculate the effective span for when you will design the staircase or the waste slab? The code tells that this is the fixed dimension that is the going. What is G? G is the horizontal projection of this part. This is the inclined length of the waste slab. So if you take the horizontal projection, so that will be the going part. So this is the going part. Okay, and going part must be there. And if this is the width twice x, if this is the width of the landing twice y, so you should consider as if the going part is supported over the center of this landing and the center of the landing. So the distance should be x plus g plus y. So it will be g plus x plus y in general, but code tells that this x part cannot be more than 1 meter. So if x and y both are less than 1 meter, say 0.8 meter and 0.8 meter, say, in that case it will be g plus 0.8 plus 0.8. But if either x or y is higher than 1 meter, then say x is 1.2, you cannot consider 1.2 here as a part of the effective span. You should consider this part as 1 meter. So if x is less than x is less than 1 meter, y is greater than 1 meter, then g plus x you should consider, but instead of y you should consider 1. Okay, similarly in this case, so the maximum span length in this case will be g plus 2 meter. 1 meter from this side, 1 meter from this side. So the maximum span length will be g plus 2 meter. So this is a particular type of the staircase that has been specially mentioned in IS 456. You must know this one, how to design this one, how to find out the effective span for this one. So in this case, when you will design this landing slab, first of all, it should be, when you will go for designing this one, first of all you should design the stair slab. That means the waste slab. You should consider this is the position of the support, this is the position of the support, find out the effective span, calculate the load, calculate the moment, provide the steel, etc. So when you will analyze this, you will get a support reaction from at this end and at this end for this waste slab. So that support reaction will be acting over as if as a load over the landing portion. So the support reaction coming from the waste slab, that will be acting over the landing slab as the loading, just like the secondary beam and primary beam. The reaction of the secondary beam is creating some concentrated force over the primary beam. Just like that, here you will get a line load, not the concentrated force exactly, the line load over this landing slab. So landing slab should be analyzed against the support reaction or the load coming from the waste slab. And the spanning, effective span for the landing slab will be the center of this wall or the beam up to the center of this wall or beam. So this is the effective span for the landing slab. So this is the idea the code has given, IS 456 has given. Okay. Now, let me come to this few points. All these staircases require 4 columns in plan. Okay, of these 2 columns should be used to support the landing beam. Actually, in case of beams, okay, say if you just consider say this particular diagram, if you want to construct this staircase, then you have to provide at least 4 columns. That means this is 1 column, this is 1 column, and obviously there will be 1 column here or 1 column here. So number of columns required, at least it will be 4. But if there is any additional beam like this one, say this one, then it may happen that this beam will be resting over 2 columns, this beam will be resting over 2 columns. So there is another beam here. Okay, so more columns may be there, but at least 4 columns should be there. Okay, so more or less these are the idea regarding the longitudinal spanning stair and transversely spanning stair. This is a precast stair. We are not entering into this part at this moment. Now the effective span, I have already told that in case of longitudinally spanning stair, okay, at the top and bottom by the beams, the effective span will be the distance between the respective centers of the beams. When the stair spans longitudinally within the landing slab, also, okay, in the same direction of the stair as shown in figure 17.6b, the effective span is center to center of the center to center distance between the supporting beams or walls. Okay, so I have already shown this figure. That this is the effective span. In case this is the effective span, in cases what will be the effective span, that I have already discussed with reference to this figure. Okay, So this particular expression information that are written here. So let me shift to next particular topic. This is a particular case where this is the landing slab. How it is different from this figure? This figure, there is no supporting element here. The landing slab is supported over this one and this one. But if the landing slab is supported here also, say over a wall, then what will be the supporting arrangement? It will be the supporting arrangement like this. It will be the supporting arrangement like this. So in that case also a G plus X plus Y that will be considered, but this landing slab should be designed in a separate manner. So that has been given in some reference, this Ahmed et al. Okay, that has a specific reference that we may consider, but the effective span, if you consider this one and this one, that will be the conservative one. So there may be some walls here, there may not be some walls here, but if you consider there is wall, but you are not considering that, that means you are following the guideline given in IS 456. So that will be the conservative one. Otherwise, if the landing is supported here, obviously you will get the advantage of that support. That means more amount of the less amount of depth will be required in that case. Now regarding the loads, that is very important part. What are the loads that we will consider over the stair slab? Self-weight of the stair slab, it will have three components. Okay, the waist slab, the weight of the tread riser, the weight of the the three parts of the loads will be this one. What is the self-weight of the stair slab? Then the self-weight of the step, and the floor finish or ceiling cluster will be there. Okay, ceiling cluster means below the stair there will be the finishing part, and over the slab there will be also floor finish. So floor finish and ceiling cluster both will be there. The self-weight means the weight of that part should be considered, weight of the step should be considered, and the self-weight of the stair slab should be considered. Okay, now we will consider the waist slab. The tread riser slab means there is no slab. Okay, only the tread and risers are there. That we are not discussing at this moment. So in our case, simply we will consider the self-weight of the waist slab, self-weight of the step, and the weight of the floor finish or ceiling cluster. Okay, all the imposed loads are assumed to act as uniformly distributed load. Okay, and this will be on the horizontal projection of the flight. That is on the going part of the stair as well as on the loading. So it is shown here. It will be the uniformly distributed load. Okay, and acting over this is the inclined structural component, but we will consider the projection of the inclined part. So that will give you the horizontal projection. So whatever the load you will consider, that will be acting as uniformly distributed load over the horizontal projection. So that is very important point that is written here. That will be considered as uniformly distributed load on the horizontal projection of the flight. Okay, that means on the going part of the staircase as well as on the landing. You will see that over the landing also it is automatically a straight part. So there will be some uniformly distributed load. And in the going part also, we will consider the horizontal projection of the waist slab. That is called the going. And over the going, we will consider the UDL is acting. Okay. Now, the live loads, obviously, you have to consider. And the live load, that these are the dead loads. Okay, these are the dead loads that is already told. And the live load means there will be different types of the utility of the staircases. So if it is service stair, etc., then it is not so much important. In that case, you may consider 1.5 kilonewton per meter square as the imposed load or live load. Okay, in case of residential building, generally we consider 3 kilonewton per meter square. In case of office or public buildings, obviously it will be considerably higher than this one. So it is 5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, and in the isolated steps that I have shown, that for that one also some specific guideline is given, but mainly we will consider 3 or 5. Okay, for designing the staircase. Now these values are available in IS 875 part 2. You know this one, that is the IS code, where the intensity of live loads, what you should consider in the design, that are mentioned. So this IS code you should follow, or you should go through to get this kind of values. So at this moment, you should remember that in case of residential building, we will consider the intensity of live load as 3, and in case of public or office building, it will be considered as 5. Though in your project problem, we have not given the intensity of live load following this one, because just to make a variation between the problems, we have considered different types of live loads. But you know that depending on the type of building or nature of the building, you will get the specific intensity of the live load from IS 875 part 2. Now I am telling here two specific points that is written in clause number 33.2 of IS 456. I am telling with reference to this figure what IS code tells. For example, say, okay, let us discuss this particular statement first. In case of stairs with open wells, when the staircase takes a right angle turn, the load on areas common to any such span, usually the landing, may be taken as 50% in each direction as shown in 17.9a. And this is a specific case that is not so much important. Still I will tell you, this is very important part or the important point. This is one flight, okay, this is another flight, and this is another flight. So obviously some UDL will be acting over this inclined waist slab part. There will be some UDL over the inclined waist slab part. There will be UDL over the inclined waist slab part. Also, along with there will be UDL over this landing, Now, when you will consider designing of this flight, okay, say it is supported here, say it will be supported here. Okay, so in that case, you are considering some load here over the inclined part, and you are considering some load over this straight part, that means in the landing part. Okay, and also when you will design this flight which is supported here and here, you will consider this landing part, load over this landing part, load over this going part, load over this landing part. Now please try to understand that this load, whatever may be the magnitude, you are considering both in this direction as well as in this direction. The code tells that whatever the load actually acting over this landing slab, okay, what you can do when you will design this flight, you consider the half of that. That means if the intensity over this landing is say omega, when you will design this flight, you consider omega by 2 is acting over this one, and accordingly you will provide some steel reinforcement along this one. Okay, now when you will design this flight, again the remaining omega by 2 should be considered here. This diagram is not perfectly correct, okay, as it is shown that as if this is omega, this omega is the intensity of the UDL over this inclined part. Okay, and they are telling that this omega by 2 will be acting here, not that. Omega 1, it should be omega 2. Omega 1 is because you know that there will be the weight of the steps. The weight of the steps will not be considered here. Okay, there is no question of considering the weight of the steps here. So what you will consider? You will consider the weight of the steps, weight of the waist slab, ceiling plaster, floor finish, etc. over this one. And here only the weight of the landing slab and the floor finish ceiling plaster you will consider here. So the intensity that you are considering here on the going part is omega 1, say, and this is omega 2. Now the omega 2 that you are considering over the landing part, when you will consider designing this flight, you will consider the load acting over this landing part, that means this one will be omega 2 by 2. Okay, and similarly when you will design this landing slab, this flight, okay, then over the landing slab you should consider the remaining omega 2 by 2. Okay, so this idea must be considered. And the next part is this, that is also written in IS 456. I think that is not so much important. It is telling that when it is a longitudinal spanning stair, okay, there is no need to embed the staircase or stair slab within the wall. This is the wall, this is the slab. So there is no need to embed the slab within the wall. But still, in some construction, you will see that this stair slab is embedded within the wall. So if it is embedded at least 110 millimeter within the wall, then code tells that you may assume actually in that case there will be a two-way action. The main action will be in the longitudinal direction, so it will be longitudinally supported like this. But if the slab is embedded within this wall, then there will be a two-way action also. So to take into account the two-way action, code tells that you may take the advantage of the two-way action. So in that case, you may consider that the loading over the whatever may be the loading over the slab, that you may consider acting from this point, which is located at a distance 150 millimeter from the face of the wall. So you may not consider any load acting over this portion. Okay, that you may consider, but how to tackle this one in your design calculation, it will be very complicated thing. That's why I generally avoid to consider this one. If the slab is embedded within the wall, then also I suggest to consider the load over the entire width, though the code does not recommend that. Okay, code has given the allowance that you may consider the load up to this point. There is a gap of 150 millimeter, but there is no load. But the code tells that in that case, you should consider the width of the slab, okay, measured up to 75 millimeter within the wall. That means though it is entered, say 100 millimeter or 125 millimeter within the wall, code tells that you should consider the width of the effective width for this stair slab should not be measured from this point. It should be measured from a point which is 75 millimeter within the wall, okay, which is located at a distance 75 millimeter within the wall. So that is a specific recommendation. I am not very much what should I say, use this one regularly, but I prefer to consider this one because that is very important. It tells that whatever the load you are considering over the landing, you should not consider the full load, okay, when you will consider this one or this one. So half of that you may consider. So that is the important point. And transversely supported stair, this kind of isolated stair slab I am not discussing at this moment. This figure, this picture, this is a picture of a staircase. This is a cantilever type of staircase. This stair slabs, they are simply projected from this wall. This is a concrete wall, so from which these slabs are projected. Okay, so that is cantilever type of stair. So slabless stair, that also I am not discussing at this moment. This is the slabless stair. Already I have told you this will be forming a folded plate. So that will be basically the riser and tread as well as the main structural component of the stair. And regarding the stair slab spanning transversely, I have given you the idea, but not entering into the actual design calculation. I will actually show you one example where the longitudinally spanning stair is there. So let us come directly to that particular part. This is the design idea that is given in IS 456. The slab is designed as a simply supported slab. Okay, so here you are not getting the actual aspect. Say it is supported here, say it is supported here. You can calculate the load over this landing part, load over the going part, load over the landing part. Okay, already I have shown you with this figure that this will be the load over the, say it is supported here, say it is supported here. So simply you consider the span as a simply supported span, calculate the maximum moment, and against that you provide the steel at the bottom face of the slab. That is being told here. Okay. Now the reinforcements are placed longitudinally as shown in the next figure. Okay. And detailing of the bar should be provided, done at the junction of the flight and landing slab. You know what kind of detailing should be done. I will show you this one again. And distributed bars are provided in the transverse direction along with the width of the waist slab. So this is just you try to understand what it is actually the diagram given in SP34. SP34 is a detailing code. So there you will get this kind of diagram. Here one typical example of the stair problem, longitudinally spanning stair problem that has been given. So here you are getting the idea that whatever the steel you are providing at the bottom face, it will be continued along the bottom face of the waist slab, and then it will not be, this is the incorrect detailing, you know, that this reinforcement will not be bent here at the bottom face at the mid landing slab or next landing slab. It will be just extended at the top face of this landing, and it will be then continued along the top face. And what another set of steel that will be provided at the bottom face of the landing slab, that will be extended, okay, up to this point, and then it will be bent and it will be provided along the top face of the stair slab. So that is very important. So whatever the steel you are providing here, then that will be continued at the top face of the landing, And whatever the steel you are providing at the bottom face of the landing, that will be continued up to this point and then bent, and then it will be extended along the top face of the waist slab. And in this case, the top reinforcement that you are providing here, that will be simply extended here, and then it will be extended to get the development length. Okay, so this is the idea. And here also, this is one flight, this is another flight. Here both the supports are from the beam or wall like this one. Similarly, there will be a beam or wall at this point. And here there will be the, this is the fast flight basically. So it is supported over the ground. So there will be a footing, etc. So but this is the detailing that you will get at this fast flight. Okay. But please try to understand that the main steel will be the steel like this one that you are providing along this line. This is the main steel. So what is the steel they have provided? This is a reinforcement to resist the positive bending moment. Okay. Say 12 millimeter at the rate, 140 millimeter center to center, that are provided here. Okay. Then this is coming from this end, coming through the bottom face. Then it will be extended up to this point. Then there may be overlapping. Okay. Now overlapping means another set of steel will be overlapped with this one, and that will be extended at the top. And the top steel is 10 millimeter, 200 millimeter center to center. So obviously it is sufficiently less. Okay. So this is 10 millimeter at the rate, 10 millimeter dia at the rate 200 millimeter center to center. And this 140 millimeter, 12 millimeter dia, 140 millimeter center to center, that should be provided at the bottom. So this is 12 millimeter at the rate 140 millimeter center to center, that is provided at the bottom face. That will be extended here, and then it will be extended at the top. Okay. And here also the top steel will be 10 millimeter at the rate 200 millimeter center to center. Just try to understand that. Always you will not provide this kind of reinforcement arrangement. Please try to understand that this is a typical one. Okay, for a particular example, with reference to a particular example, it is drawn here. Okay, so what is the actual design aspect? You calculate the total load that will be acting over this effective span. You can find out what will be the effective span. Then from that, you find out the maximum moment, or obviously it will be acting near the mid span. So against the sagging bending moment, what should be this main steel that you find out? That will be extended from this point to this point. Now near the support, you should provide, say 50% of the steel that you are providing here as the top steel. Okay, you are not designing that. You are not actually, as the simply supported slab, within the simply supported slab, you need not provide any top steel near the support, but it will not be truly simply supported. There will develop some partial fixity at the ends. So due to which some tension will develop at the top near the support. So to accommodate that one, what you can do, you can provide 50% of the steel that you are providing at the mid-span, that you may provide at the support top, near about that. So that is provided in this way. So this is the idea regarding the arrangement of the steel that you should remember. And also you should know that this LD is the development length. Already Sarah has discussed this one, how to find out that one. Okay, that length must be ensured. So whatever the steel you are providing here, the length of that should be the development length, and the lap length, you know, that lap length should be maintained here. Okay, so in this case also the development length is there, etc. So this is the diagram for the problem where the support is at the end. And similarly, this is the case where it is supported over just at the junction of the beam. That means this one and this one. Okay, so in this case it will be almost similar, but here in this case the top steel, this one will be sufficient, but in this case this will not be the part of the span of the stair. So it will be outside this one. Either it will be a cantilever slab or it will be the part of the floor slab. So here the top steel must be provided along this line. So whatever the steel you have provided here, that is okay, but other than this one you should give some additional steel that should be bent in this way. So this will be forming the top steel near the support. Here the support is at this location. So this steel should be greater than LD or 0.3 L effective. So whatever the effective span you are getting, effective span will be measured from this point to this point horizontally. Okay, this is the effective span. So this length should be 1/3 of the effective span or the LD, whichever is higher. Okay, and that the same type of reinforcement you should provide here also. So whatever the steel you are providing here, that will be extended in this way, but there should be a specific steel here from this point to this point, which is slightly different from this one. There is no beam here, but if it is beam at this location, then the arrangement will be like this one. So this is the steel, it will be extended here at this point, okay, then it will be extended at the top, and it will be like this one. Okay, so this arrangement you should maintain. You will get this diagram from SP34 also. A similar kind of diagram is given there. So this is more or less about the idea that I have given regarding the stair. That means from IS 456 what are the guidelines are there, and what are the different idea regarding types of staircase, how the loads can be considered, etc., that I have discussed. Now let me discuss you a particular example. Just a minute. Let me show you one numerical example. Okay, this one I will show you. I will share this document with you. You may get a different numerical example from this document. There will be the designing of the transversely span stair also. But at this moment, let me concentrate in this particular type of the stair, the longitudinally supported dog-legged stair. So let me start discussing this numerical example. Okay, designing of the base slab for the staircase, similar to this one, actually 1732. There will be 1732 is this one. Okay, so this is the longitudinally spanning stair. Okay, diagram is this one. This is the longitudinal spanning stair. This is the flight, 2 flights, etc. Okay, the dimensions are there. This is called the geometrical, general arrangement of stair. So general arrangement of stair, you will be able to find out. I think you have already done this one in your earlier course. So what should be the trade? What should be the height, rise? Then if the number of risers are say n, then the number of trades will be n-1. So from that, what will be the inclined, the going part, length of the going part, etc. That you will be able to find out. Okay, so let me tell you that say these are the trade stair, etc. Width of the stair, everything is given. Okay, now here what are the steps you should follow? The steps are this one. You should know the inclined dimension. Okay, this is 175, not this one. The 175 is the riser, 300 is the trade. So you know what is the inclined dimension. What is the inclined dimension of this one? So that you can find out 347. So what will the gradient? That means the inclination that you can find out 30.26 degree, etc. Now here actually this is the problem where it is supported over 3 sides. Okay, so effective span. Okay, let me explain. Not this one. I think this is not the problem. This is the problem. This one. Okay, let me explain this particular problem. It will be mostly constructed in all the buildings. So let me explain this one. This is the waist slab. Similar kind of problem. Okay, here the trades, the heights, the floor to floor height, etc. that is given. Okay, width of the flight, that is 1.5 meter. This one. Okay, imposed load, it is given. Float finish, it is given. Assume the stairs, it is to be supported over 230 millimeter width beams at the outer edge of the landing. That means there will be beam along this line. There will be a beam along this line. Okay, so outer edge of the landing, there will be beams. Okay, parallel to the risers. Okay, let me explain this particular problem. I think it is the most important one, most commonly used one. Okay, that's why I'm telling this. So there will be a beam here, there will be a beam here. Okay, so it will be supported in this way. So what we will do, similar to previous one, we will calculate the inclined part of the step. That means this is, if the riser is known to you, if the trade is known to you, we can find out this inclined length. Inclined length is 292, you will find out. Okay, then the effective span. What will be the effective span? Please try to understand that. 11 into 250. How many steps are there? That has been already written. This is 11 into 250. So there are 12 steps. 12 risers are there. So obviously 11 trades will be there. So 11 into 250 will be 2750. Then this is 1500, the width of the landing part. This is the width of the landing part. And there will be the width of the wall. This is the width of the wall. So what they are doing, they are calculating the effective span as 11, center to center distance between the support. So 11 into 250 is the going part, 2 into 1500 is the landing part, and 230, half of 230 will be considered as left end, half of 230 will be considered as the right end. So this is half of 230, this is half of 230. So effective span will be total sum up. If you calculate, then it will be 5980. Now the waste slab thickness should be assumed at the beginning. Generally it is assumed as L by 20. So whatever the L effective we have calculated divided by 20, so 299 approximately 300 millimeter they have considered. Okay. Now 20 millimeter clear cover, okay, and 12 millimeter diameter bars if you consider, then the effective depth will be 300 minus 20. What is effective depth? I have asked, or some of you have asked in the last class. Effective depth is the depth of the center of the tension steel. Okay, centroid of the tension steel, you may say, from the outermost sorry, outermost compression phase. Okay, so for any flexural member we provide the tension steel. Okay, and in the compression zone, in the singly reinforced section, we do not provide any steel. So from the outermost compression phase up to the centroid of the steel, the distance is the effective depth. Okay, so this is 300 minus 20 is the clear cover subtracted, and then half of the diameter of the steel has been subtracted. This is for the slab. But if it is a beam, though not relevant with this, with respect to this one, I am telling still, because you must have the idea. In case of beam, there will be stirrups. So you have to subtract the clear cover, then you have to subtract the stirrup diameter, then the half of the diameter of the main reinforcement or the reinforcement that you are considering. So effective depth we have provided is 274. Now 200 millimeter thick slab for landing. For landing, the slab will be requirement will be less. So let us consider the thickness of the landing slab is 200 millimeter compared to 300. It is comparatively less. So here the span is small, load is small, so automatically the requirement will be less. You will see that in some of the cases in the construction, the similar thickness may be provided in the landing part as well as in the going part. But there will be an option that you may provide lesser thickness of the landing slab with respect to the waste slab. Now, what is the load over the going part? Okay, on the projected plan area of the waste slab. So, self-weight of the waste slab you must calculate just like the floor slab design. The thickness is 0.3 and 25 is the unit weight of concrete, you know. But what is this? It is actually the ratio to which you should multiply this one, because the self-weight of the waste slab that you are considering, that is inclined. Okay, so that is inclined. Whatever the self-weight you are considering, that is inclined. So you have to multiply this one. You have to multiply this one with a factor which is basically the ratio of the inclined dimension of the step and the horizontal projected dimension of this one. Okay, there is a typographical mistake probably. I have not checked this calculation. It should be 300 by 292. Please be careful. It should be 300 because it is the load acting over the inclined part. Okay, so just you try to understand that the length of the inclined slab is more compared to the length of the going part. So if you calculate the total weight of this one and if you divide it by this, okay, it will be obviously higher than the actual weight. So here it should be 290, not 292 by 300, it should be 300 by 292. So that will be higher. Okay, if it is a normal horizontal slab, whatever the thickness you will consider 0.3 into 25. In case of inclined slab, it will be not the less, it will be higher than this one. So it should be 300 by 292. Okay, please, though I will share this document, please try to remember that it should be 300 by 292. You may check whether it is correctly calculated or not. If it is not, then you should calculate it correctly. It should be 300 by 292 multiplied by this. You may check this one. Now the self-weight of steps. Self-weight of steps can be calculated very easily. It is the unit weight of the concrete, you know. In that case, we have assumed basically that the steps are made of concrete, plain concrete. Okay, so in that case, you may consider 24 also. You know the weight of the plain concrete is 24, for reinforced concrete is 25. So for simplicity, you may consider the same unit weight. There will not be any problem. You are considering the higher value. But you should know that if it is a brick masonry, then you should consider 19.2 or 20. Okay, instead of 25. If it is plain concrete, you may consider 24 instead of 25. Okay. Now it is 0.5 by 2. What is 0.5? 0.5 is the riser. Okay, what you should do actually, you should calculate the area of this triangular part. So half into, this is 1, half into 0.5 into 250, 0.25. Okay, the area is half into 0.15 into 0.25, and width of the step, say you consider 1. So 0.15 into 0.25 into 1 something meter cube. Okay, into 25. So 0.15 into 0.25 into 25 will be the weight, and that is considered over this 250 millimeter width. So you should divide it by 250. So ultimately it will be 0.15 into 0.25 into 1 into 25 divided by 0.25. So ultimately it will be 0.15 into 25. So that has been done here, 0.15 into 25. Okay, and it is divided by 2 self-weight of steps. That is okay, that half is there, sorry, that half is obviously there. So half into 0.15 into 0.25 into 1, okay, into 25 divided by 0.25. So ultimately we will get half into 0.15 into 25. Sorry, that is correct. So you will get 1.88, whatever it has calculated, it has been calculated. Okay, so finish weight should be there. It has been given in the problem. So 0.6 kilonewton per meter square. The unit, please try to understand kilonewton per meter square. So basically you have considered 1 meter width of the stair. Actually the width of the stair is 1.5. So you are considering 1 meter only. Okay. Whatever the reinforcement, in case of designing of the floor slab, you have considered 1 meter straight. So here also same idea they are following. You may follow also the same idea. That means 1 meter width you may consider. So whatever the reinforcement you will get, that is to be distributed within this 1 meter width of the slab. Okay, so this is the finish weight. Then the imposed load are already given, 3 kilonewton per meter square. So total is 8.6 kilonewton per meter square. And the factor load obviously we should calculate. Now the bending moment, you can easily analyze this one. So this is the diagram. This is the 1.615 at this side. Okay, this is 1.615 at this side. Okay, then this is the 2.75 middle part. Now the loading is 19.17. what you have already calculated, this is 19.17. okay, this is acting over this one. Now what will be the loading over the landing part? The landing part obviously will be calculated separately. Here it is the self-weight of the slab. This is the weight of the finish, weight of the imposed load. There will be no load coming from the steps. So ultimately it is 8.6 into 1.5, so 12.9 they have considered. So this is the load over the landing part. So this is a simply supported beam subjected to this kind of UDL. So you may find out the support reaction, and you may find out the moment, maximum sagging moment. The maximum sagging moment may not be acting at the central location, mid span. Okay, because the loads may not be symmetric. The span length of the full landing and half landing may not be symmetric. So please be careful. Find out the location of the zero shear force, and there you find out the maximum sagging bending moment. Okay, so it is coming as, it is acting as 2.99, just simply the half of that. So mid span moment is 77.54. okay, so that basically has been calculated here. This is 77.54 factored moment. Here please write down that this is the 77.54 kilonewton meter moment per meter width. Okay, because you have considered 1 meter width of that. Instead of 1.5 meter, you have considered 1 meter width.
Sir.
Hello.
Can you again explain the self-weight of the stair?
Self-weight of the stair, obviously. This one.
Yes. Self-weight of the steps. Self-weight of the steps.
Self of the steps. Okay, fine. If you consider this particular, okay, let me. Is it visible? I think.
Yes,
This
sir.
this diagram.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is the triangular shaped area of the cross section of the stair. So there will be a length along this line. So actually the length of the each step is 1.5 meter. We are considering 1 meter at this moment because every calculation we are doing with respect to 1 meter width of the flight. Now what will be the volume of one step? Height is 0.15. This width is 0.25. So the cross sectional area is 0.15 into 0.25. In this direction, if you consider 1 meter, then it will be 0.15 into 0.25 into 1 into half. Okay, so half into 0.15 into 0.25 into 1 meter. 1 meter means the width. Okay, so that will be the volume multiplied by 25 is the unit weight of the concrete. Okay, now we are considering the total load as if it is acting over this projected part, that means over this 250 millimeter width, that means 0.25 meter width. So what will be the load acting over this one as the weight of this step? So half into 0.15 into 0.25 into 25 should be divided by 0.25, because this load, whatever the weight you are calculating, that will be acting over this 0.25 meter width. So what will be the UDL? UDL will be something divided by 0.25. And for the next step again you will calculate. So whatever you will find here, that will be same. Whatever you will find here, that will be same for this one, this one, this one. For every step that will be same. So what will be the load over this area? It will be 0.15, half into 0.15 into 0.25 into 25. That is the total load acting over this one divided by this. That will give you the intensity.
Okay, sir.
Divided by 0.25. So ultimately 0.25 will be cancelled out. So it will be half into 0.15 into 25. So we are getting this maximum moment. Now the calculation procedure, it is known to you. You may find out the steel for that. Okay, whatever the effective depth for the waist slab you are considered. So that you should take into account at this particular step. So you are getting the mu by BD square value. Now from SP16 you may find out what will be the steel required. There is a formula also, quadratic equation, from which you may find out the area of steel. It is probably discussed in your earlier classes. It is available in IS 456 also. So following that formula you may find out the AST, or using SP16 you may find out AST. So AST is 826 millimeter square per meter width we are considering. Okay, this is the percentage of steel, 0.3016. Okay, so from that, this percentage of steel has been converted to the spacing. Okay, not the spacing, per meter width, what will be the steel you are providing. Okay, then 12 millimeter diameter bar if you consider, then the spacing will be 136 millimeter. I think you have designed the slab, you know this one. So percentage of steel will be converted to the area of the steel per meter. Okay, what is considered, please try to understand that this is 0.3016 by 100. Then 274 is the depth. Okay, BD. So this is the depth. And what will be B? Everywhere we have considered this per meter width. So 1000 will be considered as B. Okay, so that will give you 826 millimeter square per meter width. Okay, now 12 millimeter diameter if you consider, 113 is the area of each bar. So divided by 826, it will give you the spacing 136. So let us provide 12 millimeter diameter bars at the rate 130 millimeter center to center at the midspan bottom. And the distribution bar, that will be, distribution bar will be 0.12%, you know. So that will be 360 millimeter square. So 10 millimeter bar diameter if you consider, then the spacing is coming as 218. So let us provide 210 millimeter center to center. Okay. And here the detailing is shown, but it should be noted that the nominal reinforcement 50% of AST, whatever you are providing here, that is 12 millimeter at that 130 millimeter center to center, the same steel. Okay, I will not provide at the support top. 50% of that, that is 10 millimeter dia, 190 millimeter center to center. Okay, that you are providing at the top. This is the steel you are providing at the landing top. So it's provided in the landing slab near support at top to resist the negative bending moment that may arise due to partial fixity. And the distributor bars are already calculated. It is 10 millimeter there, 12 to 10 millimeter center to center. Okay, so these are the main steel that you are providing, that will be continued up to this end. Then separate steel will be overlapped here, and that is basically more or less half of this one. The 12 millimeter die, 135 millimeter center to center, calculate the half of the steel. So find out the spacing of say 10 millimeter diameter bars. So they are overlapped here. So this steel will be resisting the tension at the top near the support. Similarly, the same steel TN at 190 mm center to center are provided here. Okay, and the steel that you are providing here, 12 mm 130 center to center, that will be continued here. Okay, this is the 12 mm 130 mm center to center, that will be extended this one. Okay, so LD you may calculate, it will be near about 50 times D. So 50 times the diameter of the bar you will calculate, and that when you will draw this one, you should mention this length. So it should be 50 times of the diameter of this bar. Whatever the bar you have provided is 12 millimeter. Okay, so near about 60. So please measure this one, it should be 600 millimeter. Okay, so that you should provide more or less. This is the detailing. Okay, and just in short, I am telling within 2, 3 or 5 minutes. This is a particular example where the landing slab perpendicular to the stairs, where the support is perpendicular stair, means this one. Okay, the problem that I have already told you at the beginning. So this may be another type of the problem that is also very important. So in that case, the loads will be calculated a similar way, plus try to understand what will be the effective span. Effective span has been calculated. This is 2750. Now 1500, half of that will be 750, half of that will be 750. So simply 750 plus 2750 plus 750 will be has been added. So this will be the effective span for the flight. Okay, so this is 4250, this one. Okay, so other idea, you know, the effective span, the waist slab thickness that has been assumed as 4250 divided by 20. So you are getting this one, say 215 millimeter its depth, overall depth. Okay, so this idea, you know, then calculation of the load, that will be similar to the previous one in case of inclined slab. Okay, this inclined slab will be having say 11.76. So factored load is a loading over the landing. Now the loads over the landing. Okay, the load over the landing will be 25 into 0.215. 0.215 is the thickness, plus 0.6 is the finish, and imposed load is 3, so ultimately 8.98. Okay, this is the factored load. Now the 50% of this load will be assumed to act longitudinally. So here, please try to understand that. Sorry, this is 13.47. We are getting 17.64 over the waist slab part, that means the going part, and 13.47 will be over the landing part. So 17.64 and 13.47. 17.64 has been considered here, but 13.47 what you are getting here, 50% of that, roughly 6.74, that has been considered over the landing. This is the most important part that you should remember. Okay, otherwise the design calculation is more or less same. So you will get this one. Then the maximum moment you have calculated, you can calculate. And the steel you can calculate. It is coming 12 millimeter diameter, 290 millimeter center to center. So that has been provided, 12 millimeter diameter center to center. This is the main steel. Okay, this will be continued at the end till the end. Okay, so this is 12 millimeter center to center, 290 millimeter center to center, and the distribution steel you can calculate in a similar way. 8 millimeter diameter, 190 millimeter center to center. Now the important point is that the landing slab, how the landing slab will be designed. The landing slab will be designed, obviously it will be, landing slab will be designed as a simply supported slab. Okay, the entire loading of the waist slab is transferred to the supporting edges by the bending of the landing slab, so in the direction parallel to the risers. So considering the full width of the landing width is 1.25 meter. Okay, this is full width of the landing. Sorry, this is the 1.25 meter. Okay, not this one. Just a minute. What they are telling at this one. Actually, the concept is this one. Whatever you have analyzed this one. So R1 and R2 you can calculate. So R1 and R2 that will be acting over this slab as the UDL over this one, and it will be supported here and here, from which you may calculate what will be the moment developed there. So this is the main idea. Let me find out what they have calculated here. Designing of the landing slab, the entire loading on the waist slab is transferred to the supporting edges by the bending of the landing slab. Okay, in the direction parallel to the riser. So the spanning of the landing slab is parallel to the riser. considering the full width of the landing of 1.25 meter, it is probably 1.5 meter because they have considered 1.5 meter. Okay, loads on landing slab assuming as uniformly distributed. What is the total load? You have calculated. Please try to understand the support reaction you have calculated in case of this one. Okay, what was the support reaction? Support reaction you have calculated 29.31. Okay, kilonewton per meter. So that 29.31 should be used here, where it is. This is the load that is acting directly over the 17.64 into 2.75 by 2. 17.64. Okay, this one is a 17.64. What you are considering over the landing part. Okay, actually what they have considered, this is 13.47. that is the load already calculated over the waste slab. So that need not be transferred again. So they have calculated this one separately. And then load from waste slab, 17.64 is the intensity of the load over the waste slab. Okay, this is 17.64. Just a minute. This is 17.64, okay, and this is 13.47. That's 17.64 into 2.75, okay, divided by 2, that has been considered. Okay, this is the load. 2.75 is the span of this going part. So that will be 224.26 kilonewton per meter. Per meter means here, per meter means along this direction. Okay. So total load is this one. This is directly coming over the landing, and this is coming over the. This is coming from the waste slab. So loading on 1 meter strip of the slab, that has been considered as this. Okay. So just 1.5 they have considered for dividing. So ultimately getting the 29.65 per meter. Here this per meter means, the per meter means this one. Instead of this 1.5 meter, 1 meter is considered. Okay. Then this is the loading. And the effective span is 3.1 meter. Why 3.1 meter? 1.5 and 1.5, and there is a 100 millimeter gap. This is 3.1 meter. Okay, this is 3.1 meter. So you are getting the maximum moment. So moment is WL square by 8. So this is the total moment. Then mu by BD square. You are getting the steel. So that steel will be provided in the parallel to the steps in the landing slab. Okay. So what is that? It is coming as 12 millimeter dia, 200 millimeter center to center in the direction parallel to the riser at bottom. Okay. So please try to check this one. This is 12 millimeter dia. These dots. This is a 12 millimeter dia, 200 millimeter center to center at bottom. Okay. Now and 8 millimeter dia, 190 millimeter center to center, that is provided at the top as a distribution bar. Okay, because that is not needed for the landing slab, but we have to provide this one for the reinforcement coming from the waste slab. So you have to provide some distribution, but that we have provided here also. Okay, so that distribution still we are providing here. This is 190 millimeter center to center. So this idea of reinforcement detailing you are getting from this problem. So how the reinforcement can be calculated and how the reinforcement will be distributed. Okay. It has to be noted that in the landing of the bars of the waste slab are kept above the main bar of the landing. Okay, in order to provide the effective depth. Moreover, such a detailing is also required due to the fact that the waste slab is supported over the landing. 50% of the main reinforcement, say 10 millimeter, 300 millimeter center to center, is provided at top. Okay, etc. So actually here you must note that these are unlike the previous problem here, these are the distribution bars. Okay, please consider these dots. So these are the distribution bars. Okay, but here these are not the distribution bars. These 12 millimeter dia, 200 millimeter center to center, that is the main steel for the landing slab. So that's why they have kept at the bottom face. Over that, this steel that is extended within the waist flap portion that has been provided. So this arrangement, okay, you must remember this is only for the staircase where it is supported like this one. So these two type problems are very common. That's why I am showing you this one. Obviously, there are other examples also. I will share this document with you. Okay, it is taken from the book of N. Subramanian. So here other type of designing is there. We are not entering into that part. If you get time, you just try to, not actually this one very common, it's very uncommon, but whatever the two problems I have discussed, that you must know, and along with that, if possible, if you get time, then you may go through the problems that are given for the transversely spanning stair, like this one, not this one, this one. Okay, these are the stringer beams, how this slab is designed, etc. That idea you will get from this problem. So if you get time, you just consider this problem and the next one as the transversely loaded stair. Okay, so this is more or less all about the staircase design. So whatever I have discussed, I think more or less you have understood. So if you have any query, obviously you have to go through the textbook also. This is also a textbook. This is the Design of RC Structure authored by N. Subramanian. So this is a very good book. Other books are also there. The P.C. Varghese book for overall design of structure, I am telling concrete structure. The book authored by P.C. Varghese, that is also a very good book. The book authored by Pillai and Menon, that is also another book. Okay, there also you will get very conceptual idea. Okay, and this particular book also, this is published recently. That is also a book where you will get different detailed information regarding different topics. So at this moment, I am coming to the end of this lecture today. So let me stop recording, then I will discuss if you have any query.